All right. We're going to start right now. We're going into week 3, emerging. What does that feel like? What is it going to be? What does that mean coming out of our 2 weeks, and what it means to kind of how are we going to transition and how are we going to glide out of this? So let's see what we can bring out of this. So some of us may be going in like really deep, still doing the deep, and you're not quite ready to emerge yet. I think I'm still kind of there. Some may have had enough already. You're done. That's it. I'm ready to emerge. This is going to be easy. And then some may feel like you're kind of upset with yourself that you really didn't do or go as deep as you thought you would, or maybe you didn't really hit any goals you were hoping to hit. But that's okay. Like, it's a detox. It's everybody's plan. Everybody's rhythm is going to be different through this. And, hopefully collectively we kind of, kept each other going, but we're just going to start into week 3 where we are right now and kind of leave that. There's a Sanskrit word and it's svasha, and it means seated in yourself. It means to be you, who you are right now, like to be grounded and to be established and to be like healthy in your feelings of yourself right now. It's a pretty cool word. Kind of like that one. We're going to make room for where we are, and we're going to meet us like right here, like what is arising, what's coming up. So if you have your journal, if you have a paper that you've used in the past, I want you to take that out now. And we're going to kind of do a little evaluation. And it's the cause and effect of our actions before and during, and then through the emerging process. So it's kind of cool. So it's a great little exercise. So cause and effect is, we're seeing effects now of the causes of, say, prior or through the detox, but mainly we're going to go back into the what are the causes right now that happened, the effects of time and life before the detox. So we've been doing things a little bit differently in the detox than our normal daily routines, and more of, say you were a person that was eating 2,500 calories in a day, which is kind of normal for most people. And now you've shifted into, you're having like 800 to 1,500, call it. So from there, you're going to like really, you're going to see this difference now. Or maybe you were sipping hot water through these last 2 weeks, like every 20 minutes, and you're feeling the effects. You're really having hydration. Like you can feel it. You can feel it in your skin, or you can feel it in your digestion. You might just feel it in your attitude, because again, it's that vibration that's carried through this hydration. So like, what are you doing right now that's feeling different? So first question. So we're going to write down a couple questions, and then I'm going to give you a minute or so, like a little bit of a time, then you're going to write down. So what are the symptoms you had? Like, remember the first day when we wrote down, what are the symptoms that you had going into the detox? Maybe you wrote down the first day, or maybe, you were thinking that big list that I sent out, like in that first email, maybe you had joint pain. Maybe you weren't sleeping through the night. Maybe you were really irritable towards yourself or towards others, which is very, very common. Maybe you had outbursts, with your children, your spouse, coworkers, something like that. Like you had this, this, maybe you were bloated. Maybe you were constipated. There's a huge population, including myself for years and years and years, that were right in that category. Maybe you have this mental state in the morning, like when you woke up, that you didn't wake up feeling good. You're carrying debris from the day before. So maybe you had those going on. So I want you to just take a minute. I'm going to give you, a couple seconds, couple minutes, and you're going to write down what your symptoms were coming into the detox. All right. So we're just going to take a minute here. All right, everybody have their questions? Okay, so think of the list that you just wrote, and it should be pretty clear, because most of you coming in, we gave that list in the beginning, had your idea of what was out of balance for you. What were your symptoms that you were going to try to address in this? So now that you have this list of symptoms and you've gone through 2 weeks of the detox and you've been adding in a few more habits, you've been hydrating, maybe you're getting to bed earlier, maybe you are doing the earlier dinner or no dinner at all, you're shifting your big meal to lunchtime, you're spacing out your meals, you're not snacking between meals, you're giving that lightness, you're giving your body that intelligence, you're giving it back to be able to communicate cell to cell to cell, whether you're really focusing on it or not. Maybe you're taking some silent time, like maybe you're having a little bit of this time to kind of just sit and be, really be quiet in yourself, in your thoughts, so this is, all different. This is all what's, coming up. So what for you, out of your symptoms, you might be noticing maybe you're not having them so much anymore. Like maybe something is shifting and you're noticing some of these symptoms are either changing a little bit, lessening something. So out of those symptoms, make a list out of some of them, maybe pull a few that might be optional now. Like, has something changed in the last 2 weeks, that cause and effect? So now you have this cause of something, maybe lighter, maybe you're sleeping better, maybe your joints don't hurt as much, maybe you're waking up in the morning and you feel that clarity, that lightness that you're supposed to feel in the morning. So maybe some of this now is becoming, it's actually something that might be an option. But in the list, go back and look and say, like, what's not really an option anymore? Like maybe it's easy to continue these habits and have the better cause. Maybe the effects of this change is bringing about a different cause, like the cause is feeling better, waking up. So take those symptoms and then maybe circle a few or write down a few or something that are, maybe they're optional. Maybe you don't have to have those symptoms anymore. So let's take one minute, maybe circle or think about it. Okay, all right, we're back. So I hope everybody had a couple symptoms now that they can relate to that maybe are pretty optional. All right, a lot of times too through this we find, and it's a really cool experience, like, like I've had that forever, or like, so for years and years and years, I was like, I was bloated or I was constipated or one or the other. And I just thought like, maybe that was kind of normal, or that was just me, that was just my body. And then as I started going through a few different detoxes and things, all of a sudden I was like, oh, wait a second, all that shifted. I am not that. So something I did in my detox shifted that outcome. It's now different. So now maybe I can take something out, or I can lessen something, or, maybe something is just not good anymore and I can literally just stop it. So this you're going to go in and you're going to find in that list what you can do. Maybe how is your body? So number 3, we're going to go into how is your body communicating through these symptoms? What is it trying to tell you? So maybe maybe you weren't sleeping through the night. Like maybe things were a little bit off for you, maybe, so if you were not sleeping through the night, maybe it was you were drinking caffeine in the afternoon instead of just the morning. Maybe you were having that dark chocolate fix in the afternoon and you didn't realize, and maybe 12 hours later, it's still affecting you. You're not resting perfectly. Most of us think maybe we were just eating too much. Maybe we're eating too often, that late at night eating, that'll definitely disturb your sleep. And most people, we're in a society where we eat from anywhere from 7 to 10 p.m., especially socially. We're out doing all this. So the snacking between meals and that late night eating will definitely affect not only your sleep, but that ama, as we've spoken of many times through our classes, that will settle into your joints. So that will make that joint pain feel worse because it's ama, it's toxins. And you will not wake up with that clear-headedness and that lightness in the morning because you didn't get a real chance to detox or get rid of any of that food or those emotions. So you were used to eating late and drinking caffeine and maybe having too much wine or something. And all of a sudden you didn't do it for 2 weeks and you're sleeping better, you're resting, like things have made a huge shift. And you're like, oh, guess what? I kind of know now what I was doing, like, say you went out, a lot of people find this too. So you're making your way through, you were going through the 2,500 calories a day. Now you're doing the light and you kind of blew it one night and you went out with your friends because it was, some kind of a dinner engagement. And you went back, you ate, 2,500 calories or 2,000 calories just at dinner. Like when you add it all up, the calories add up very quickly. So you had too much to eat, really good rich food. Then you had 2 glasses of wine. There's like 500 calories right there, just adding on by just having, 2 easy little glasses. So when you add all that up, all of a sudden in the morning, you're like, oh my goodness, there's where you can make the correlation. This was my old habit. And the effect of that was in the morning, guess what? I'm stiff, I'm cranky, my stomach doesn't feel good, my head is not clear, I'm like groggy. So, which is pretty cool in the detox now, if we kind of write things down and we can fit this together, we can find out what is different now that wasn't, just 2 weeks ago. It's only been 2 weeks that we've been kind of clearing our suitcase out. And so let's write down, what is the body trying to communicate to you right now? What in the last 2 weeks did you do that shifted, that your body now is telling you is going to be different or is different? Take a minute or so. This is a good one. This is a deep one. Okay, everybody have their thoughts. So again, through the detox, we were lessening and lightening the load. We were having more silent time. Remember, it's all the things coming in through our senses that now hopefully we have shifted a little bit. Even silly things down to like our skin, like one of the senses is our skin. It's that sense of touch. So we put a ton of lotions on our bodies. We were clogging all the channels in our day-to-day life. And through this cleanse, hopefully we're kind of removing some of that and we should be noticing some of the changes. So we just wrote down, how is the body communicating? Like, what did it tell you through this last week? And then number 4, aside from the physical body, now let's go into like the emotional and the mental patterns, because if you had time, if you were lucky enough to kind of make that transition to maybe walk after your meals, go in the woods a little bit, maybe walk on the beach if you're lucky enough, take that quiet time, just sitting and letting everyone leave you alone, or just being content on just being by yourself is a huge, it's a huge like blessing to give yourself that we don't get a lot of anymore. So your mental and emotional patterns, like which are daily, like you do these same mental, like you go through work or you have a cycle of things that you do during the day, and your level in your mind is always the same. So many items on your calendar, so many things you watch on television, so many people you talk to. But hopefully through the detox, maybe you cut a little bit of the back. Maybe you rested a little bit more. Maybe you took a few things off your schedule. So in there, your mind, think of your mind now or your emotions before the detox, and then coming through the detox. I actually had, so emotional and a kind of mental thing for me, years and years ago, I felt this like dullness, it wasn't a depression, it was this heaviness like in my mind and everything. And I wasn't quite sure like what I wasn't satisfied with myself. I wasn't fulfilled. I didn't feel like I was fulfilled or that I was doing what my purpose was, like why I was here and all of this through my like professional life and myself at the time. So I kind of going through the detoxes and staying within the rhythms and like, being lucky enough to go, through Ayurveda and all that, you come out and you're like, you get this satisfaction in yourself, you get a direction, you start to get this lightness, and you start to move the puzzle pieces around. Even if you don't change it 100%, you get this mind shift of where you're going to move things around, and you're going to undo those stuck patterns, and you start to create new patterns, where maybe shifts in relationship, and it doesn't even have to be a complete change, where you leave your job or you leave a relationship. You get stronger in your ability to make new choices for how the game is going to be played. And you start to get this real confidence and you get this lightness back again. So the
I
detox,
felt that.
right?
Yeah. The stuckness and that's funny that you say the word stuck, because I wrote that on my symptoms.
Yes,
I felt stuck. I just felt
yes,
like, and the purpose and all of those things that you're saying, that what this you're saying is resonating so much with me. And what I felt a lot of over those, especially those first 2 weeks when I got deep into it, like confidence
yes,
in just doing something challenging and
yes,
unsticking and just kind of
yes.
shaking things up. It was really cool. And I felt like this confident, like to that you're like stuck and then confidence. Those are the two
Yeah.
words I felt a lot
It,
of.
it's this beautiful transformation that can be so subtle. So everything in the universe goes from gross to subtle. So when we started detox, our whole existence is in that gross, atmosphere. Our foods are too heavy, things are too much, things are going on. We're kind of stuck out in that larger picture. And what we try to encourage each other through the detox is to go inward instead of that outward. So the more you go inward and the more you do some self-reflection, the more you kind of go in and check out what exactly is happening layer by layer inside, not outside. You start to get that lightness. Like, as we said in the detox, you're eating less. Hopefully you're watching maybe less TV. Maybe you're having less calls at work. Maybe you don't schedule yourself so much on the weekend. Things like that are bringing lightness. And then the food itself is bringing the lightness to the body. So when it all connects, you get that lightness. So if you go back to like our first few calls, we're adding space into everything. We're going to add space into our cells. We're going to add space into our schedules and all. So as we do that, as again with the hydration, the vibration gets to expand within and gives us that lightness in our mind. And then the emotions can clear, or we can just put it out on the paper like, okay, I'm finding clarity in my path, in my pattern. Maybe I don't have to shift a whole bunch of different things. It's not anyone else's fault. It's my choice to do and just shift. And everything starts to come together and you feel that lightness and that dullness is gone. Like you have now that encouragement to go forward. You might not ever have to change your job, your relationships or anything. It's what you start to bring to the table that's different. So what mental or emotional patterns that maybe you've been carrying for a long time and then working through these steps of the detox, what maybe shifted for you? Like what maybe is not there anymore? Or what do you feel that you have kind of brought into your being that has brought that lightness and that clarity to like the top? You're now in that subtle body, really deep, and you feel that, you just feel that strength and that power. So just take a minute to write down what mental and emotional patterns are optional. So it's again back to that optional. What were you doing before that maybe could be less or stopped completely, or maybe just like, maybe a little bit. Okay, I'll give you a minute. All right, so hopefully you had a couple real breakthroughs, because like I said, way back in my detoxes, as I did them more and more, like I did the spring, then the fall, then I so craved the spring again, then the fall, like I couldn't, like I knew there was dramatic change in these detoxes. And it's not just because I really craved them because I felt so good during them. I know the body needs to leave the winter to come into summer, leave the summer to come back in the winter. So it's this rhythm that I'm going to keep, that that we hopefully stay on. So when you're thinking of all of these different things through the mental body, the physical body, all that we just went through, your mental patterns, what symptoms, all that, what's out of sync right now? Like your body's trying to get back in rhythm. Are there still a few things that you need to address? Are there some things that you're so empowered by? The mind and the body, when they're out of sync, it causes disturbance. It causes disturbance in your mind. Like when they're not firing back and forth, which is a main channel between, your third eye, your heart chakra, your stomach, digestion, then you have all of this miscommunication going on, and that leads to a lot of anxiety or mistemperament. You get very disturbed in your digestion, like everything gets off, and it gets built up and built up and built up over time. That's why a detox is so necessary. But if you could think right now, like what is out of sync right now, or what is in sync? What have you pulled together, or what is still really out of sync that might be so easy in this last week to kind of concentrate on? So take a minute and let's go in to see like what's out of sync right now, or what's really in sync for you. All right, now we're back. Hopefully you have a little bit of an understanding of what's really working for you, mental body, physical body, emotional body, like what's in sync, and then what's still really kind of out of sync. And keeping that in your journal, it gives us a reference to go back and look at. It has, something as you're feeling, because you can always do a mini detox. If you're having a weekend, or you've come off vacation, or you've come off of, some real like crazy work week or something like that, maybe you have to travel or whatever, you can always pull out your tools, exactly what we, just went through, and you do just like a weekend jumpstart. And it just, gets you back in, or say it's after the weekend, you want to do a Monday, Tuesday or something. So you have all of these points now that you can go back in and reference. What's the cause? What's the effect? Like what's happening? Like what happened from here? Okay, those nights, okay, you went out with your friends, you had too much to eat, you had too much to drink, you ate, going back to all that list, now, okay, I can just jumpstart. I'm going to wake up, you woke up in the morning and you feel horrible and but don't fret, because now you know what to do. You can exercise harder that morning, like get things going, get things moving. Let's hydrate again. Meal space, maybe skip breakfast, maybe just have a plain old green juice. So this week coming out, some people might really be wanting to like jump right back into like a real like old pattern or whatever, but I kind of encourage you to do this really, really slowly. Because again, we didn't build up all of these cause effects, everything that happened in a month or a week. It's happened over years and decades, of time. So now we're going to go into coming out like on the food level. So this was the emotional, the body, the habits, everything that's kind of made our reasons to come into detox, and how things have shifted through. But now if we're into week 3, find for you, are you still like maybe week 3 for you, maybe you just started getting really deep into the detox, and week 3 might be, I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to go even a little bit deeper. So I actually had the last 2 days were probably my like deepest 2 days into it, of like really light, like everything. So I'm probably going to not shift out right away today. I might take maybe 2 more days of really keeping the lightness going or whatever, and then go. So it's all your choice where you are. If you're completely done and you're ready to emerge this week, maybe your family's had enough. Maybe they've been like, all right, this is enough, get back into reality. It doesn't matter where you are. But I really encourage you to do it slowly. So you're going to go from like, you've been eating really, really light to really heavy. That's going to really disturb you. It's going to upset your stomach. So picture right now that Agni, that digestive fire, has had the ability to really only concentrate on detox, because you've had very, very light food, lots of hydration, hopefully lots of rest time, some quiet time. So if you go from light food and whole light atmosphere on that subtle level to like this gross, like, throw yourself right back in, it's going to upset everything pretty harshly. Your digestion is, your Agni is going to have to go now from detoxing and digesting all the toxins in the cellular level to going back to heavy foods and you're really going to put a huge imbalance in your body. So you never want to go from detox juices to like a big steak dinner with, sauce and potatoes and all that, because you will really not feel well after, and it will really disturb the system fast. And another thing I would like to encourage is keeping the habits going, like your early dinners, if you can, early to bed, start the day right. After, hydrate, make sure you have total bowel movement in the morning if you can, like right after, you're going to remember to keep scraping your tongue. sit in silence as you can, and do the body massage. Still super important this week. Keep the, keep that fascia moving, keep that, the lymphatic system, keep everything going. And if you keep those going, even if you have like that dive out, you just want out, if you keep the habits going, it'll at least keep you a little bit more on that even keel. It'll keep you kind of in that a little bit of a balance. But so week 3, say you were, say you just happen to have like that hardcore, you were able to do juices and maybe even a day of like live lemonades or something, and you're ready to come out. I would transition into like soups and stews with maybe a kitchery or something, in there, like really come out gradually through this week. If you were already on kitcheries and things, maybe start adding in some heavier vegetables, or maybe you want some like oatmeal or something in the morning, and then, something, maybe keep it still light at dinner time, especially because you want that body to keep detoxing that nighttime. So maybe a light soup, something, or you want to add some chicken broth to it to get some of that fats back in, that's okay. But you can also do avocado or something, but keep your meals. Maybe you want to introduce a little bit more, but still keep them pretty light. The dinner time, again, make that your lightest. Try to make that the lightest so that the detox can still happen overnight. If anyone has tried enemas or saltwater flush or colonics or anything like that through the detox, you probably want to add in more fermented foods. So all of those things have kind of flushed out the body's microbiome. It's kind of disturbed the probiotic levels and different things in your body. So you can go into fermented foods right now, which is easy as like sauerkraut, like, kimchi, but sauerkraut's even the easiest and the lightest, and you can experiment trying to make it at home. So definitely go from that lightness into the heaviness, quiet, like in a slow manner. And then keep checking your tongue. Super important. Keep checking your tongue, because through the detox, we were checking to see what's coming out and how much of that ama is leaving. But the tongue, as you go through now, you want to make sure that this transition is still happening and that detox is coming out. If you go too harsh, you're going to have this, it's going to show on your tongue. So keep seeing that, make sure that it's kind of still normal and you're not having, so if you have the scalloped all around your tongue, that's like malabsorption. That means that your digestive fire is definitely not hot, fired up enough. So you want to add maybe some of that ginger or those spices like we had before you eat, that 20 minutes before, put more of them in, get the sauerkraut in you, something like that. So really check your tongue, continue to check your tongue. And again, sauerkraut's the easiest one almost. You can take that 3 times a day. If you're feeling that there's still real imbalance and it's showing on your tongue, or you really need to just get that fire going again, you can have sauerkraut with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. While you're introducing those, like if you're starting to get the heavy foods, keep a lot of the real heavy spices and things out. Like you don't want to start adding back all these spices again, because spices are really medicinal as well. So kind of remember that all those extra additives that you might have had in your normal dinners prior to the detox, slowly bring them in. Don't like bombard. Say if you go out to dinner and like I have an issue, I always, any kind of Chinese food or Thai food or something, not Thai so much, but some of the other foods that are really laden in the salt, the soy, the sodium, like all that in them, gets me really, really off balance. So you might go in and just say, okay, can I just have some of the, the vegetables and the rice or something, ask to have a sauce on the side. In this way, you have control over what's going in, but you're still getting the benefits of that rice and those vegetables or whatever. And again, I wouldn't bring really any meats back in yet this week, kind of keep it low, but you can introduce a little bit more food. Listen to your body's natural intelligence. It's really funny. So as we're talking about the tongue, the digestive system starts at the mouth and goes all the way through the rectum and the anus and all the way out to this one big Mahavata Shirota. It's that main great channel. And the tongue is the first, it's like, that's the emissary for like the rest of it. So you're either allowed in or not. And your body's intelligence, your tongue is so smart. If you go to take something and you either swallow it easily or you want to spit it out, that's your body saying, nope, can't do that yet. Don't want that. That's not coming in. It's usually not something, you know, weird, or you have an allergy to something, your body's that smart. Like it already knows it's not ready for that, or it just doesn't want that. So kind of like really keep a good watch on that. The body's normal, you know, intelligence. If you notice this week coming out, you all of a sudden are overeating already. Like you've just like craving food and you overeat or you eat late or whatever, you're going to notice again the next morning that that was not the right thing to do. So just, you know, if you had a very big dinner and it's still early enough, go for a nice walk, like stand upright, because your digestion is north-south polar. So it's going to work in a downward movement if you let it. So if you even just go for a walk, say, oh, I don't feel good, I shouldn't have done that too fast. But then if you wake up in the morning and you still feel really fog-headed and too full and whatever, do that harder workout. Keep the hydration, you know, going during the day. So as we shift in from lighter to heavier, keep all of that in mind. So maybe you want to add some different grains. Say you're eating khichdi and it's probably just rice. Add in those extra grains this time. Maybe put some more beans in, add some different nuts, some heavy things, but not overboard yet. Keep it within reason of what works for your diet. Another point, this is super important, continue to rest. Even if you're adding these extra foods in and stuff, let your body still have that rest time. Really have that like subtle, like honor the stillness, honor that like coming off, especially if you've gone like really hardcore for a while, your system's kind of delicate right now, and it's going to react more to that introducing the heavier foods if it has time to rest and really, you know, get back in. Don't rush it. It can ease in. Continue this week if you want, if you've tried a salt flush or an enema or something like that, or if you're doing the Triphala, like keep that up this week. Don't stop that like immediately. You can still do a little bit. Say you had like a really a bad full day or something's going on and you just want to try an enema, it's still okay to do it this week. I think I said in the beginning, and it's on that one list, you can add liquid chlorophyll to it, a little bit of salt, like a really good salt, a Himalayan or a black salt or something, or and a little pinch of baking soda, which really helps create that alkalinity. So again, you can do that during the week, just through this next week to kind of really finish clearing out the channels. And then don't allow those social engagements and things to really throw you off plans. If they arise, try to plan ahead, like think maybe you eat the bigger breakfast, the bigger lunch or something, and then you have a lighter dinner with all your friends, or maybe you really just want to have a glass of wine or something, you know, sip the glass of wine, or have something a little bit lighter, you know, plan ahead to make it kind of keeping with that last week of our detox. And then kind of keep in your head as you're going through this next week, where do you want to be in this last week? Like where, so week one, you know, we eased into it. Week two, I think everybody had a little bit of a kind of a profound shift in their mental or their body or their schedules, you know, whatever it may be, your joint pain as we're going through. What do you expect for week three? What are you hoping for? Do you want to continue a little? Do you want to ease out and continue feeling that lightness? You know, make yourself a plan. Do your meal plan, like set yourself up for the week. So it's if you're coming out of it, gradual, give yourself a little bit of an idea so that you know what to expect, and really set your goals for the end of the week and let the whole week kind of plan out and kind of like put its way through to how you want this end of the detox to happen, how you want to come out feeling. So it's kind of important, write down your plan. What are your, you know, your actions for this week, and make them smart again, make them, you know, measurable, make them really attainable, have them doable for you, you know, and this way you won't feel so scattered, like, oh no, I'm coming off of like hardly eating anything, and now what do I bring in? So if you sit down for a minute and you make this plan, it makes it easier, and it actually, you'll probably get it done, and you'll really like, you'll get to those goals, and you'll come out of the detox feeling like really empowered that you did this. And again, if you've had ups and down experiences through it, that's okay. Start right here, week three, where you are right now, and then, you know, kind of go through this week however you want to do, whatever's working for you. So I think I went over all the points. Any questions? Any, keep up with your schedule. I mean, keep up with your habits, keep hydrating, keep walking. If you can go out in nature, like start to feel all these things you got to feel in week 1 and 2, continue those through week 3. Ashley, Miranda, any questions?
Yeah, I
Any,
love your point about remembering to focus on where we are right now and just kind of reiterating that, you can't bring the past with you every day and you have to just be where you are and keep visualizing the future. But that's really good for someone like me to keep hearing.
yes,
Because I have that perfectionist type of drive. And so I can be very all or nothing. And then if I stumble, I have a really hard time and I get
mhm,
discouraged.
yes,
So, like for me, like I was crushing it, I had all this clarity. And then I had a bridal shower for my best friend. I hosted it and I, had some bad things and I had some rose. And then I was really down on myself and that confidence was kind of kicked. And so it's good to remember you've
yep,
done something really hard for 2 straight weeks and then you had a little rose and you're not a failure. You're
that's
still
right.
amazing. It's Monday, you jumped in, you had your kit tray, you had your juices, and you had that plan. They just jump right
Yes,
back in, which is really
exactly.
important to kind of, remember, which is helping.
Exactly.
So,
Wherever you are right now, that's where you're supposed to be. That's where you're starting from right now. We're going to keep letting that past go. We're not going to carry the past into the future. The future is completely different. As we keep relating to those past habits, we're carrying that in and we're still that person. You have to learn to let that go and create whatever that new goal vision is for you. That's what you want to keep looking for. You keep picturing yourself in that spot. And as you keep doing more of what you want to do, it's not like you have to stop doing the others because it just goes away. There's no attention
mhm,
to it anymore. So you are
yeah.
now this new person with these new habits, say, or whatever has come out for you going forward. You're going to start living that new person because that's who you are. None of that old stuff is going to keep coming into today because it will never stop. It'll keep tomorrow, it'll still be today. And then it's going to be past, 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 past with no future vision because the past is being carried. And the more you carry the past, it's been decades for most people. The
Mhm,
momentum is so much faster than anything else that there is no future goal because you're still that old, whoever you were. And as we start to want to unfold this and become that new person, that new vision, we have to no longer focus on that, really keep visualizing and seeing ourselves in that new position, maybe eating lighter, maybe we don't snack anymore, maybe we go to bed early, our dinners are earlier for the most part. So maybe we try and then, the next week, either this third week or coming out of it, maybe 3 nights a week, say you're so used to eating with your family at 8 o'clock at night, maybe 3 nights a week, you go to 5 if you can. Or you go out with your friends on Saturday nights and maybe you're just going to have, 1 glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine. Maybe you had more Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like whatever works for you, that's your goal. That's what you go for. But I believe most people, you start to feel that shift within on those super, super
definitely.
subtle levels, that's what you want to continue. That past is not going to keep going forward because now you have a new trajectory for who your new person or who you're new, it does not, like most people aren't going to not do this forever. I'm not going to eat real food and I'm not going to, never drink wine or never smoke pot again or never smoke cigarettes or drink a cup of coffee. It's now you're going to have a new rhythm for your body or a new level of tolerance or a new, trajected goal that you're going to look for. So that's the whole purpose of a detox is to let go and to shed those
Mhm,
layers to get rid of them. So all those things
love
from the
that.
past that were all curled up in that onion that became that big ball, we're slowly pulling them away. And you get to that point where you like layer after layer after layer. So that's the beauty of the detox, that it's not just food, it's your whole being. You came in as a person, you went through, hopefully you kept that journal going a little bit. And then as you emerge through it, hopefully you have goals set to keep that going and that this is the new person you want to stay. This is where you want to be. And now you've got, a great little toolbox, lots of recipes. Like I said,
Yeah.
you can always go to a quick little 2 or 3 day 3-day detox, bring your friends in, like maybe you want to do something as like a little collective. It's really great for that.
I
So
love that.
any more, like anything coming out, any questions about like maybe what to do, what to eat, how to?
No, I think these are all really great pointers in terms of just kind of the trajectory when we're going, you know? And I
Yes.
feel like I had that little bit of feeling of like panic of I'm not ready to end yet. So I like that we can kind of make it our own
Yeah,
at our
I'm
own
gonna keep
time and
going.
ease in.
Yeah,
Yeah, just ease in over the next week and, you know, just cruise. And I think the thing I love so much about it is like the forced space in general. I think I'm craving that. I had been craving that for a while and
yes.
didn't even know it, you know? So yeah, I think I'm gonna keep cruising through for a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's exactly. So like in the journal, in those the exercises we did, what's working for you? What is in rhythm now? What's in sync with your mind and your body that you're liking? Keep those things going. What are things just still feel out of balance? Those are the things you want to leave.
Mm,
So it's yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a really great thing to do for your body, your mind, your spirit, like connect
yeah.
it all and just, get back in balance and start to get rid of the toxins that are daily. And, that's how they are. All right. I hope this was helpful. I hope everyone has their kind of their ideas and their plans set for how they're going to come out and do this week 3. Do your menu planning, try to keep up on the habits, and really, really focus on who you want to continue to be during this, what was in sync, what worked, what didn't. Go from light to heavier foods, but do it gradually. Or if you're not quite ready to come out yet, then find the few items or the different routines that you like that were working for you and keep them going maybe a few more days and start week 3, maybe by the weekend or something. All right. Thank you all. Namaste. And I'm going to send out a few more little videos throughout the week. I have a couple more great little talks to share with you. Good night, Miranda. All right. Good night, everyone.